Hi Copic fans, welcome to Copic in the Craft Room. My name's Michelle Houghton, and this week for our video tutorial we're going to look at coloring red hair. It's actually my favorite hair color to color, and it just has such a wide range of colors, but for some reason this one to me is just the best. So I'm going to pick out my favorite red hair, and then later in the week there'll be a photo tutorial that shows you another range of, or different options for those color bases. So if you want, pick your favorite red hair colors in your sketch markers or Chow or originals, find an image and come join me for some coloring. All right, I've got my workspace all set up and I'm going to be doing some red hair on this fun image by Jade Dragon. I'm going to make sure to include her internet information. She is an online line artist, and so you will want to check her out. She would love to share her images, but we want to make sure to pass on her internet information, her webpage, so you can get to see her stuff directly by her. So I thank her extra special for letting us use some of her images. You'll see a few more of hers coming up in both photo tutorials and video tutorials. So make sure to watch for the link. It'll be on the video, probably right as I'm talking now, but also at the end of the video. So pause it and check her work out for me. With this image, we're going to be doing some red hair today. I'm going to show you my favorite darker red hair combination, and then later in the week you'll have about 6 other options, or at least 5 more besides this one, that are colored up, and you can see some variations of red from light to dark and a little bit funky as well. The colors that I am going to use today are YR30, YR31, then a YR15, YR18, and to finish an E09. That is my favorite color to finish red hair in, if it's this kind of carrot top, orangey red. So I'm going to go ahead and speed this up just a hair. I'll talk over it as I switch so you know exactly what I'm doing and what I'm thinking as I do it. But I'm going to start with that YR30. With that YR30, I'm going to give a nice strong base coat. I like to base most of my hair with a base coat versus leaving white. There are some colors that I would do that with, like a light blonde, but not with red. I'm going to switch to the YR31, and now I'm flicking in color. I've got a long flicking stroke going. I'm going in the direction of hair growth and trying to pay attention to where the hair starts and ends, coming both directions from the part line and then from the tips up. The area under her neck or next to her neck is going to get dark, so those areas are mostly getting filled in. The bottom edge of the ponytail gets a little bit heavier where the top edge might remain lighter. Switching to YR15, again hitting those same areas. And at this point I'm doing about the same amount of color as I did with my YR31. Again, next to the face, back in that neck area is going to get really dark. Where the hair gathers at that ponytail tie is going to get dark as well. Turning my paper a lot so that I can get the angle that I want for those long flicking strokes. Switching to YR18, this definitely gets darker at this point. So this color I'm using less, the flicks get a little bit shorter and I don't do quite as many. Still focusing in on those same areas though, right at the part line, the area next to the neck, where the ponytail gathers in that hair tie, and the bottom edge of that ponytail.
Switching to E09, and this is my darkest color, so again, the strokes are getting a touch shorter. One more time and a few less. And I could leave it here. When I get this step done, I could stop and leave it here. I usually choose to do a small amount of softening. It's not true blending, it's just a softening effect. I skip the YR18 and go to my YR15. And now I'm doing a broader flicking stroke and bringing that YR15 in a little bit further. I go all the way back to my YR30 and I flick from the lightest areas in onto the colored areas or the darker areas. So I focus that color from the center out. I decided I'd like it a little bit darker, so I'm going back with E09 one more time. And then I decided I also wanted it to be a little bit redder, and so I did go back in with that YR15 and the YR31 and even a little YR18. I felt like I hadn't hit that area behind the bangs quite well enough. So I'm going back with my colors a few times.
All right, I am gonna step away from this image at this point, at least for the hair. Hopefully you had a chance to kind of see my thought process as I am coloring hair. It's a pretty decent example of how I do most hair, with a solid base, working up through a series, and then stepping down through that series. I still want to see the flick marks, so we can still see that texture, but softening it, and so skipping some of those colors as I back down the other direction. So remember, later this week you're going to see more red hair in a photo tutorial, so I hope you watch for that at Copic in the Craft Room. Thanks for joining me. Have a colorful day.